Hey guys, Chris here from Kite Republic, here today to talk you through the Nash S25 product range. For this video, we'll look specifically at the S25 Nash pivot with none other than Nash International Team Rider, current Kite Park League World Champ, all-round nice guy, and St Kilda frother, Mr. Ewan Jaspin. Let's get him on the line. Mr. Jaspin, how are you?
Hey Chris, how are you?
Very well, mate, very well. Mate, let's kick things off. Very keen to find out about this new S25 range, and let's find out about the new pivot. Obviously known and loved for its big air, free ride, all-round fun. What can we expect from the new S25 pivot?
Well, this year we've got a new little bridle setting that we've figured to give the pivot a bit, even though it's got such a great range already, we've given it a bit more kind of adjustability. So the standard setting it comes on is just like the old pivot setting. It's really great, lofty jumps, hang time, lots of power, lots of grunt. And then now we've added a new setting which shortens the front bridle at the C attachment point, which is the third bridle point down from the middle. Yep. And what that does is kind of makes the kite D-power a bit more flyer further forward, so it's really good for kite loops and high winds. You can hold down a bit more power with it. So for the King of the Air style riding and overpowered riding, you'd want to put it on the short bridle setting there. And then when you're light winds, nice sea breeze session, then you go in the standard setting. So that's the main thing we've worked on this year. We've also, the sharp teeth are a bit more refined on the trailing edge. And so we've cut a little bit more weight and a nice kind of smoother shape on them.
Yep.
And yeah, other than that, we've also got the LE graphic line, which everyone's super amped about, which is the black kite with the old school skull and crossbones in the middle. So yeah, some nice new changes there.
Nice, and yeah, it looks absolutely mint, that new full LE model. So looking forward to seeing a few of them around the skies. Now, tell me, it's probably one of the most all-round kites you'll find. But is there anyone for the pivot that you do not believe it suits?
I mean, for sure, if you're looking at unhooking, we've got better kites in the lineup. If you're looking to unhook a little bit, but still want that all-round feel and have the bigger kind of range and performance and be able to go foiling, wave riding, then you'd probably want to look at the Dash. It's kind of got a lot of the pivot characteristics, but then it has the ability to pop and slack a little bit more. Obviously, if you're dedicated freestyle, then you'd want to go for the Torch. It's definitely the best kite we have for unhooking.
Yep.
And even a lot of people who don't unhook that much, they just kind of prefer that direct, solid sea kite feel. And then maybe if you're a complete beginner, the pivot will work great for you, but there's also the Triad, which is kind of based off the pivot, but it's got slightly shorter, more rounded wingtips, and it just kind of pulls a little bit less through the turns than the pivot, so it's a little bit less aggressive, a little bit more sheet in and go, and just basically like the easiest kite in the lineup we have to fly, with plenty of performance still. But if you're looking for, even in the waves, the Triad kind of pulls a little bit less when you turn it, so in the waves it might even be kind of where you go instead of the pivot.
Beautiful. And so obviously we've been watching you on the Torches since you're about 13. Over the last year or two, we've seen a bit of King of the Air competition, and also on the foils a bit, and I've seen you gravitating a bit towards the pivot as well. Now, where's the crossover? Like, you obviously were doing massive kite loops on the Torch previously to switching across, and now we're seeing you competing and using the pivot. Can you just give us a very brief rundown on why you're using the pivot and competing on that for that style of riding?
Pretty much it's just in competition, you're in a heat, you have 12 minutes to do, or 10 minutes, however long your heat is, to do your best tricks, and the Torch is, when it's the perfect conditions, it's my favourite kite to use, but the pivot just has that broader range, so, and every single takeoff and every jump you do on the pivot is a good jump. The Torch, you really have to get everything right. It's a very precise kite. If you hit the sweet spot, it's the best thing there is. But I still, on the torch, you get a bad takeoff, not the perfect release. You don't actually get the best jump. Whereas the pivot, every time you send the kite, you get a really good jump. And then also, the main thing is in the lighter winds, the torch, compared to a pivot, size to size is a lot less powerful. So in general, the 3 struts or the flatter arc kites are just a lot more powerful than the sea kites. So if we're running an event 25 knots, a big air event, on a torch I'd almost still be unhooking in 25 knots, but on a pivot I'm fully lit and I can go for big air on a 9 or a 10 meter. So really, like, if you're trying to compete on a sea kite and then your opponent takes one of these more powerful SLE kites, you've just got no chance in the lighter wind. So maybe if the wind hit 35 plus knots, I'd start riding a torch again in the King of the Air, because then I feel like the torch levels out to the pivot, and then when it gets even windier, I think you can hold down more power on a torch and go even bigger.
Yep.
But anything kind of 20 to 30, low 30s, I'll stick to a pivot just because of the power and the range it's got and versatility. So in fact, I just go out and I was so surprised after riding the torch for big air that I could just go out in the pivot, and every single wave I hit was a great jump or a great loop. And whereas the torch, you kind of spend your session looking for the perfect ramp, and you might go out for an hour on a sea kite and get 5 really good loops, which just doesn't work for a competition. For free riding, I prefer it because those 5 feel really good, but for a pivot, you go out for 5 minutes and get 5 really good loops. So.
Yeah, beautiful. So we're hearing room for error, huge fun factor, great acceleration, and just a kite you can use in multiple conditions. If you haven't tried the pivot, guys, make sure you do. It's an absolute weapon out there, but yet still easy enough for a beginner to get their hands on. Ewan Jaspin, thank you very much for talking us through the S25 pivot there. Looking forward to getting heaps of people on the water. Hit us up, guys, kiterepublic.com.au, grab a demo, come down and try them, and who knows, once he's allowed back, we'll see Ewan on the water. You can try it with him. Cheers, guys. Hey guys, just thought we'd introduce you to one of our local Nash brothers. Chris has just come off the 2020 pivots and has got the first limited edition S25 pivot in Victoria. Firstly, mate, why the pivot? What do you love about it?
Well, I learned on the pivot, and I think it will take you through from learning to obviously kite looping and going massive. But yeah, the new one, the graphics are sick. It's got a great feel. The pivot's amazing.
Nice. Looked like you had a massive smile on your face through the whole day, right from pumping it up and going, oh my God, this is epic to that. So, so happy?
Yeah, stoked. Even the bag looks sick.
Happy for absolutely anyone to come and demo your new toys whenever they want.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Break it, you buy it. But yeah,
perfect.
No
Don't worry about coming into KR. Just see Chris. Awesome.
Cheers.
Well, cheers, mate. And I don't know if we're allowed to do that or not, but
you done it.
Yeah.